In this video, I will explain the difference of shallow copy and deep copy and the use of copy constructor. So first of all, uh, let us learn what is shallow copy and deep copy. Basically, this issue arises when you have a pointer variable in a class member as a class member. It, so when uh, I have created a class, simple test class. It has a member one in simple integer and a member two that is basically a pointer variable, and m2 size is an integer variable. Basically what it will do, it will ask the user about the size of the member 2. User will specify a size, and we will create an integer array of that size and assign it to member 2 pointer. So I have created a simple constructor with two parameters like m1 member 1 and size for member 2. I have assigned the members to the parameters, and then I have made a print function which simply for now printing only member 1, and I have created a t1 object and passing 10 to member 1 and 4 is the size of the member 2, and then t1 dot print. Now let us create a dynamic array in the constructor when user specifies the size of the member 2 array. It's very simple, we have already learned it in the previous video. Let us write member 2 is equal to new int and the size mentioned by the user. So it is created a dynamic array, and now go to the print function. Also you can initialize the values uh, to some default values like int 0, int I is less than equal to m2 size and I plus plus, and assign member 2 I is equal to 0. I am initializing the elements of the array to 0, and now go into the print function. I am simply printing the values of the array like this, and go give a line break at the end of the print function. Now let us try to run the project, and it shows that member 1 is 10 and it's 4 values of array. Now create another object, member 1 value is 25 and the array size is 6. Now let us see what happened. Try to run the project, and it successfully created a 6 elements array. We have already learned that in the previous video that when we create a dynamic variable, a dynamic array, we must deallocate the space when the variable goes out of the scope. How we will do this in a class? We will simply declare a destructor. This is a destructor, and here we will deallocate the memory space which was assigned to member 2. So in this scenario, when the object of the test class goes out of the scope, its dynamically created array member will be deallocated from the memory. So here is the output, it is functioning correctly. Now issue is that when there may be a situation that, like this: test t3 is equal to t1. What is happening here is basically we are creating a new object named as t3, and it will copy all the values from t1. Let us try to print the t3 object and check its output. It is the same. Like you can see, the third object is taken from the t1. Now what is the issue here? Like t1 and t3 both have the same values. uh, both have the member 1 m2 size and the member 2 pointer. Now as far as the simple integer variables are concerned, the both objects t3 and t1 have separate copies for these two integer variables, integer members. But as far as the third member, that is pointer, is concerned, both t3 and t1 objects are sharing the same member pointer variable. In fact, pointer variable is different, but the both pointer variables are pointing towards the same memory location. So if one object changes the data of its array member 2, then the other objects will automatically get the updated memory, updated data from the other object. So this is basically an issue, that when you copy t1 object to the t3, it creates the copies of the ordinary variables, ordinary members to the other object, but it creates a if the class has a pointer member, then the pointer members of both the objects will share the same memory space. So this is basically shallow copy, because uh, uh, it should be done in such a way that the both pointer variables of both objects should reference to separate memory space in the memory, but they are sharing the same space. So this process is basically a shallow copy. We need to perform a deep copy, so that if one object changes the memory contents of its pointer variable, it should not affect the members of the other object. So how we will do this? Let us see. For the purpose of deep copy, we will define a copy constructor here. By default, uh, the compiler provides a copy constructor, but we want to define our own copy constructor so that we can perform the deep copy instead of shallow copy. So let us write a copy constructor here. We will define object, the source object from which the new object will be created. So let us, member 1 is equal to obj dot member 1, and member m2 size is equal to obj dot m2 size, and member 2 will be created a new dynamic array of m2 size, and we will run a loop to copy all the elements from object to the new object, like this: member 2 of I is equal to obj dot member 2 of, like this. This is basically deep copy. We are copying each element from the memory location of one object to a separate memory location of the new object. So let us try to run the project. So it is running successfully.